Welcome to the channel, I'm Hayes. I talk movies all day, sometimes I talk about games, so subscribe right now if you want to be entertained. And today, I want to talk about Invincible Season 1. It's been watched, it's been thought about, and I want to talk about it. But I want to do things a little bit differently, because normally I'd write stuff down and write what I want to say and that kind of thing. And you know, that's all well and good, but I feel like with this, I just want to talk. I just want to talk, and I don't know if it's going to make a difference in the video. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. You can let me know, but I just want to talk about this because there is a lot to talk about. Now, here's the thing. Also, I'm not going to get too much into spoilers and things like that, like super details and all the intricacies of the plot and the story and that whole thing. I feel like with this channel, if you watched this channel before, which I don't know, you probably haven't, to be honest, but if you have, then you might know, and if you haven't, then let me just say that with this channel, I pretty much talk about movies with a slight assumption that you've already seen it, you know, in a sense that I'm not going to give away everything, right, just in case you haven't, but at the same time, if you haven't watched it, yeah. Anyway, I first heard about this show maybe, I don't know, like a couple of days, maybe 3-4 days before I watched it. I just saw some stuff on Twitter. I hadn't heard of it before. People seem to be talking about this show called Invincible. All I knew that it was about superheroes, you know, that's all I knew. When I looked up on Amazon, it said adult animation. And to me, adult animation means something else. Let me put it that way, just something else. But you know, there seems to be a bit of a buzz about it, so I was like, all right, cool, let me check it out, let me see what this is about. And I watched it. I knew next to nothing about it, but I watched it. That first episode, bruv, like, oh my days, like, even from the beginning, it kind of started off, and, you know, those inklings that this was going to get serious, like the way the two people were talking in the beginning, I think the cops or the security guards, they were talking in the beginning, it just seemed like it was going to get serious, because typically with animations, cartoons, and things like that, they usually throw in jokes and things like that, even when they are being serious, they usually have, like, some jokes and stuff like that, just to kind of keep the mood, you know, really light. But they just went into some serious topics talking about, I think, like kids. I can't remember exactly what topic now, but I remember they got him pretty serious. And then of course, as episode progresses, it was just like, yeah, this is gonna get serious. They ain't playing with this one. This is like a drama that you'd have normally with live action, but rather than live action, it's animated. And that's something that you don't get that much, at least not in Western society. I know with anime, you kind of get that a bit more, where you take animation and you have like dramatic stories told through animation. So to see something like this, and then it's like, okay, there's no jokes, well, not, you know, like that. It's not trying to be silly, it's not trying to be whatever, but it is taking, you know, the concepts of superheroes, so, you know, it's still sci-fi, but then it's getting very serious with it, and it just lets you know that right from the jump. That first episode, as we got to the end, and like I said, I'm not going to get into too many spoilers, but you know what happened at the end. And it was just like, fam, like the way it just happened, because there was no like warning. Well, I guess if you watch it again, you can pick up like tiny little inklings, because he does talk about things changing when Mark got his powers. By the time he gets to episode 8, we know what that is. The whole thing about Viltrum, and you know what he told them in the beginning about Viltrum being this place where everybody's all strong, whatever, so they go to these other planets to help out. Well, that was a lie. Right, that was a lie, because we found out more about it. It's not about helping people out, it's more about helping themselves out. But when it got to the end of that first episode, and the way he took out just everybody, that was crazy, because it just went so violent as well. So the levels of violence throughout the season was just, mate, if you like violence, you kind of like this. I like violence in movies. I do. Mate, this was just every episode. And they pointed out on their Twitter, on Invincible Twitter, that when they show the Invincible splash screen, it actually gets more and more bloody each week. I didn't notice that until they pointed it out, but still, it just lets you know this is getting violent and violent. And the name, of course, let's talk about Invincible. The character, ironic name of sorts. I mean, I guess technically he's still alive, so maybe, right, maybe. But the way he gets battered in just about every episode, it was like, yeah, maybe that name was just a little bit of a stretch. Just a little bit of a stretch. I'll tell you what stood out for me though in this, and I think it's something that a lot of people noticed when it came to the relationship with Amber and Mark. When Mark revealed to Amber who he is. But Amber already knew, she already figured it out. But that wasn't the problem. The problem was that he was lying to her, that he didn't trust her enough to tell her the truth, or just letting know what's going on, or at the very least not to treat her like an idiot. And she was hurt by this. She understands that he's a superhero and he's doing all that, but it's the fact that he was lying and not trusting her was what led her to be really upset and almost kind of break up with him. Apparently some people didn't quite understand that, and for me I just felt like, yeah, it was, at least in the context of the show, that's what they were getting at. Like, it's not just a case of saying, oh, I'm a superhero, everything's great now. He didn't really acknowledge that he'd been lying to her all that time, and that is part of earning back that trust. So I feel like it wasn't just about saying he's a superhero, but acknowledging that he's lied, acknowledging that he's mistreated her, acknowledge that he hasn't trusted her, and then apologizing for that. And that's what he didn't do. Maybe he tried to do it, to be fair. She did kind of shut the door in the beginning. Maybe that's what he was going to do, but it's not what happened, you know. So the next episode, well, the final episode, episode 8, where she comes back to him and is like, you know, are you okay? And I'm kind of thinking that, is that a case of her forgiving him, or is that a case of her just feeling sorry for him? And I think that's something they could explore in season 2. I mean, we'll see. Maybe everything's back to fine and she just accepts that this is how it is, maybe. But does he still have to make amends for that trust that he's abused, you know? I'd be interested to see if they do anything like that, but we'll have to wait and see. But anyway, there's loads of things that happened throughout the series. You know, the main story, then of course the sub-stories as well. And one of the sub-stories, I feel like we're going to see more in season 2 as well. And, well, we'll see. But the whole thing with secrets. So when Mark goes to Mars to help out with the astronauts, the Martians there were talking about the secrets, and they're trying to keep the secrets from taking over bodies and things, but kind of didn't happen. And then it just left it there. But it was like, okay, so we're just not going to talk about this? But then in episode 8, they show a little bit, just to let you know that, you know, I feel like something's coming with it. I mean, I don't know if that's going to be the big thing in season 2. Of course, well, I don't know what's going to happen in season 2. But I feel like that's going to be something in season 2. The secrets and Earth and how that affects. And maybe it ties into Mr. Omni, because he just left. Right? He just took off. And it's like, well, what's that about? Is he coming back? Is he coming back with reinforcements? You know, has he changed his mind? Is he trying to stop them now? Has he decided that he doesn't want to destroy Earth or whatever? Has he decided that, or has he now decided that, okay, this is going to be hot enough for, and I'm going to need some help? We don't know, but the other guy was like, yeah, we need to let Earth know about what could be coming. This show, this episode, this whole series, yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. It was 8 episodes. 8 episodes. It felt like they did as much in the 8 episodes as some series do in like 20. There was just so much in there. And it was incredible. Like, the whole experience of watching it from beginning to end was incredible. Debbie, played by Sandra Oh, was another standout character for me, like, because she kind of gets introduced as, you know, the housewife, right? Over the course of the series, you know, her character gets developed and you see more and more of her personality. And I feel like Debbie was like the real hero of this whole thing. You know, she didn't have powers or anything like that, but the way she took care of Mark, the way she just loved, and the way she just like looked after her friends, you know, I feel like that was, you don't need to have powers, and not all heroes wear capes. And I think Sandra Oh's character Debbie was an example of that, just somebody who has that desire to care for other people. So yeah, big up to Sandra Oh, big up to Debbie. That was one of my favorite characters throughout the whole thing. Adam Eve had that whole story with her father, and her father not wanting her to be a hero, but she just felt like it's something that she had to do, but maybe not so much with the Guardians of the Globe, and to kind of went off and did her own thing, as she was just helping people, you know, directly. Just feel like she needed to be more involved. And I feel like that whole thing, that whole conversation she had with her dad was just really important. Parents are going to want you to be something, or your teachers are going to want you to be something, or your boss is going to want you to be something. People, society is going to want you to be something, but in the end you got to be you. And that's what she did. She kind of recognized that she just had to be herself, and in order to do that she had to leave her home, leave the Guardians of the Globe, and just kind of go off and live in a treehouse, because that was her trying to find herself. And I think there's an important message in that. I think there's a lot of interesting things that can develop into season 2, but season 1 itself was incredible. You know, from beginning to end, it was just incredible. So yeah, if you haven't seen it, see it. And if you have seen it, you already know, bruv. You already know. It's just, But anyway, that's what I think of Invincible. What do you think of Invincible? Let me know down below, and while you're there, be sure to like, subscribe, and drop a suggestion if you don't mind.